We're Megan and Neil, and this time we're off to Peru to hike the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. Come with us as we spend 3 weeks exploring the dramatic Andes in the west to the Nazca Desert in the south and the lush Amazon rainforest. We arrive in the Sacred Valley at the town of Phuyupatamarca to start the Inca Trail. The town is a colourful chaos of travellers excitedly organising their hiking gear and locals offering last-minute supplies. Phuyupatamarca is the official beginning of the Inca Trail and is at the 82-kilometre mark, which is the distance from Cusco. It's a quaint old town with cobbled streets and aqueducts guiding rushing mountain streams. Up to 400 people a day arrive on buses and trains to begin the trail, and yet it doesn't seem as overcrowded as we had thought it could be.
So here we are at the beginning of the walk to Machu Picchu, and it's madness with all these people selling us sticks and people everywhere about to start the trail, and it's all crazy, but we're all ready to go, so exciting.
We'll be covering a distance of 43 kilometres over the next 4 days. The first day of the trail is the easiest one, and as we head off over the swing bridge spanning the fast-flowing Urubamba River, we're feeling uplifted by the adventure ahead. Surprisingly, the track is fairly flat to start with as it follows the river. After a couple of hours, we arrive at the Patallacta ruins. This site is said to have been inhabited earlier than the other sites along the trail, with occupation dating back 2,000 years. It was an important agricultural site producing food for the Machu Picchu area. We start to wind our way through lush pockets of vegetation, unaware of just how close we are to the edge of the Amazon rainforest. Our day ends with a steep climb up into our camp for the first night at Sayacmarca, the peaks of surrounding mountains framing tomorrow's climb up to Dead Woman's Pass.
So we made it to our first campsite on the Inca Trail. I think it's Phuyupatamarca, or I'd like to have another look at that, but everyone's, I think, really surprised themselves at how well they've done. And we steadily went up, and now we're camping in this lovely little valley here. Past 4 in the afternoon when we arrived, and we had the most amazing lunch of 4 courses, I think, starting with a very nice salad, and then moving on to mushroom soup, and then a main of pork and rice and vegetables, and then finishing off with a nice cup of tea, all in our own little restaurant style tent. So we're being waited on hand and foot here. I think we can't quite believe we're here.
The second day of the Inca Trail is the steepest. There are steps, steps, and more steps.
Here we are, walking up the original Inca Trail, and I think it's fair to say we're knackered. We're knackered.
So knackered, we can't say we're knackered.
Here we are, going up. We were all the way down there somewhere this morning. We've come up about 500 metres maybe, 600. Some more people coming up, and where we're aiming for is luckily not up there, somewhere way up there.
We stop along the way for morning tea, which feels like it should be lunch, judging by the amount of food we consume and the amount of effort to get to this point.
We made it to the rest stop. The pass that we're going for is way up there. We might even be able to see some people. There they are. 2 hours up there. Maybe. Here we all are. There's Hugo, our wonderful leader. And that's where we've come from. Way down there.
It begins to feel like we're stopping every 10 steps to try and catch our breath, although the stunning mountain scenery is also taking our breath away.
There's all the people snaking up. We're getting there slowly. There's a vast view up to the mountains, and we're aiming somewhere up there.
It's not far, I don't think. Maybe
No.
10 minutes to that corner, and then half an hour after that we should be at the top.
Yeah, woohoo!
We can do it.
We can.
We climbed 1,200 metres up to Dead Woman's Pass, which is at a height of 4,215 metres above sea level.
How do you feel?
We got a fantastic
A little bit tired, but very good.
Yay!
For a couple more days yet.
And see where we came from. All the way down there, 1,200 metres from the campsite to up to Dead Woman's Gap, where we are now. Very happy to be here.
After Dead Woman's Pass, we have a short descent of a couple of 100 metres to our camp for the second night.
Here we are, almost on the last bit of the Inca Trail before our stop for the night. And we can see over there, but the clouds are starting to roll in. It might be going to be a wet afternoon. I'm not sure what time it is. It's probably about 2 o'clock, so not far to go to lunch now.
It isn't long after getting into camp that it starts pouring with rain, followed by hail and thunderstorm.
There's some of the hail we had. No wonder it sounded like it was raining heavily.
And tomorrow we're off walking around those mountains over there.
Yeah.
And Machu Picchu somewhere behind this one over here, apparently.
Day 3 is a mixture of climbs and descents with some impressive ruins along the way. The first ruin is the Runcarakai ruins, which are believed to be a tambo, or an administrative military structure, which may have served as an inn to the Inca messengers who ran the Inca roads carrying important information. Our guide shows us the pattern of this ruin, which mirrors the handle of the Inca ceremonial knife, tumi. This pattern is thought to reflect the sun, the centre, being surrounded by the moon, the crescent.
We're at an Inca ruin about an hour's walk from our campsite for the second night. Just had a very good explanation as to why this is round.
And
all relates to the night.
Clouds have just started to come up through the valley.
The next ruins we visit are the ruins of Sayacmarca. The climb is up 98 stone steps, which is reflected in the site's name, which means inaccessible town. This is a pretty appropriate description as the ruins are protected on three sides by sheer cliffs. It's unknown what the main use of the complex was, but it has a sun temple and residential buildings, which originally were reached across a bridge.
We're in another Inca site, high in the Andes. You can see it's starting to get a little bit more jungle-like. There's lots of trees and things
There is.
around.
It's quite
a little
lush.
bit more lush. This is quite a large one compared to the last one that we saw.
See, we're surrounded by some ruins from the Incan period, and being ruins, it can only mean one thing.
What's that?
They're very old.
Yes.
Look, it takes a trained eye to understand these things, but you know, he's hitting the books. And over there we've got another site that's also Incan, and it's located in the Andes. Also made with stone, and very old.
And slightly ruined.
It's slightly ruined.
There is still evidence of a canal system which brought water into the site for both domestic and ceremonial uses.
Here we are on the Inca Trail again. So the rest of the path down there to Inca Tunnel. Walking's just brilliant along here with being a really lush, wet environment with lichen and flaxes everywhere. They made the path along here is amazing. A lot of the time clinging to the side of a cliff. It'd be about 800 or 900 metres down to the valley floor below. There's lots of sandflies. Looks like everyone's stopped.
The two young guys, they gave, what's his name? Ricardo. Take a photo of us. And he goes, okay, and he stands there to take the photo, and they go, let's do sexy looks. And he goes, oh, impossible.
I thought you were going to say, take one step further back, one step.
we all lost it. We were all rolling around on the ground, just going, it's the funniest thing we've ever. He was like, they were so shitty. We'll keep you up to date on the hour.
The ruins of Phuyupatamarca is one of the most beautiful sites along the Inca Trail and is almost always within the clouds, being located in a cloud forest. This ruin contains terraces, a serpentine vantage point, and an intricate series of ceremonial baths connected by water channels. Phuyupatamarca stands where the trail crosses from south to north of the long ridge leading to Machu Picchu. It is overlooked by flat-top peaks whose Inca platforms offer a breathtaking panorama of snow peaks.
Here we are in another amazing temple not far from Machu Picchu. This one was used for agriculture, for making, for growing plants that were sent down to the valleys, and there's all these terraces everywhere. We're going to walk down that way to our camp, and Machu Picchu is the hill on the far side that's in the cloud.
How cool is it? Just completely cleared up.
You can actually see the hill behind Machu Picchu now. It's that one clearly in the middle there, and the ruins are somewhere where we can't see on the other side. So it's amazing how far we've actually got to go down to get to them. We're along quite a long way above them at the moment. So we're about to start our 2-hour trek to the next camp.
The last morning on the Inca Trail is an early pre-dawn start. The excitement amongst the hikers is palpable as we are quickly carried along in the darkness of the chilly pre-dawn morning on a fast-paced march towards the sun gate. This part of the trail is an unsettling contrast to the past 3 days' hike, as it is very narrow with a sharp drop-off into the ravine below. It is all too easy to imagine a hurriedly placed footstep in the dark, leading to dangerous consequences. As it gets a little lighter, we're able to allow those in a hurry to pass us, and the hikers space out a little. From the vantage point of the sun gate, hikers anticipate being able to watch the sunrise over the ruins of Machu Picchu. As we arrive, we hope that the clouds will clear so that we can get a great view of the rising sun. It's still pretty cloudy, but our guides assure us that the clouds will clear as we enter into Machu Picchu.
We've arrived at the sun gate. How do you feel?
A little bit puffed. Went too fast this morning. Very nice to be here though. Quite glad. And we've got this marvellous view of Machu Picchu in front of us. We're worried that it's cloudy, to be honest, because the important thing is we're here.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I'm fit now and I'm flying.
Join us next time at the end of our 4-day hike on the Inca Trail and arrive in Machu Picchu. See you then.